change is coming to Hadestown. Tony Award winner Lillias White is taking over the role of Hermes in mid-September. She's the first female actor to take on the role in a musical, but until she steps into the part, T. Oliver Reid is Hermes. Let's send it out to Charlie Cooper.
Thanks, Tamsin. T. Oliver Reid is a Broadway vet with 13 credits to his name. Now he's taking audiences to hell and back as Hermes in Hadestown. We sat down here at the Civilian Hotel to talk about him taking the role from André De Shields, co-founding the Black Theater Coalition, and so much more. You've had a career that spanned decades in this industry.
Charlie, you just called me old. Thank you very much. Just called me old. No.
But no, I'm kind of curious. I feel like you could play any role. What about Hadestown really just drew you in?
It initially was absolutely the music. I am friends with Chris Sullivan, who did the New York Theater Workshop version of the show, so I had listened to that recording forever, and it was one of those things like once you put it on, you can't not listen to it. Then I was working with Rachel Chatkin on a workshop of Lempico, which is her next show coming in, and they mentioned that there would be auditions because Hadestown was coming back from the West End to Broadway, and I was like, well, there's no choice, I have to do this show. And then figuring out exactly what made sense in my head for me as a part of the show, and I knew that I wanted to be able to cover both of those roles, Hades and Hermes, because for me it's always been about like being able to like play all of these things. So watching Andre and watching Patrick Page seem like the best of all possible worlds. It's rare that if you book a show and you're doing one thing, that you'll actually then get to do something else unless that's how you come in. So for me, that's the thing that made sense. And yeah, I've loved every minute, but it definitely was the music at the very beginning and what Anais Mitchell put down on paper that struck me and sort of has kept me all the time.
Stepping in post André De Shields, who is a Tony winner,
yes.
Legendary, huge shoes to fill.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for that?
The biggest thing has been just trying to get him out of my head. Once I took over and then having conversations with Rachel Chatkin, it's been for me to be able to strip away as much as I need to and keep the Andreisms, as I like to call them, that actually are just amazing storytelling as a part of the show. But yeah, so it's been the past couple weeks have just been finding my own voice within the text that I know so well, and just making sure that what I'm saying actually feels the way that I say it and not the way that Andre said it just because.
Let's talk a little bit about the Black Theater Coalition. Yes. I know you're a co-founder, and let's talk a little bit about the work that you guys do, but also I know you guys have an upcoming production, right?
We have an upcoming production. One of our fellows, John Bronston, is spearheading this, and it really has been about making sure there are opportunities for Black professionals in this industry. Like there are plenty of Black and brown bodies on stages, but when you look in general management offices, you look at producers, you look at the creative design areas, all these, there's so few. We want to make sure that these first years were really about opening those doors as much as possible. So those first months, we literally emailed, called everyone we knew, and to find out who really wanted to see change in the industry. And so many of the people that we reached out to are like, we've been waiting for someone, we know that it needs to happen, but there was no one to sort of lead the charge. So for us, it's like partially leading the charge, partially just supporting our accomplices and partners so they can continue to do the work. And part of that is also making sure that our fellows are able to work together. So John Bronson, who's our musical directing fellow, is working with one of our producing fellows and one of our directing fellows to make this next production.
You just talked about inclusivity and putting different faces in the forefront and behind the scenes as well. It kind of made me think about earlier this year, you stepping in as one of the fates. And I mean, I thought that was a major moment, a huge moment, and just, I guess, showing to audiences that Broadway can be non-binary.
Yeah, well, not to audiences, but particularly to our fellow humans who identify as non-binary. And I have to say, like, walking out that first night, for me, it was that moment of like, okay, it felt like I was a man in a dress with makeup on, because I identify as him, he, his, and that's how I walk through this world as a, male cisgender person. But there were people, there were people in the audience that night, and when I walked out, I saw their mouths like fall open. It's like, oh yeah, there are people who are seeing that there's an opportunity for them in theater that they didn't think was there before, because you've not seen it yet. For me, it's always been the audiences that are seeing it. If I was on as an understudy or a cover, it shouldn't be any different than the shows they see any other night with the normal cast on stage. But more and more because of COVID, because of lack of coverage, or people finally realizing, like, if I don't feel well, I shouldn't be in the theater. I should probably just stay at home. If I'm feeling sick, don't go to work. We're seeing more and more that there are more and more moments of people seeing exciting things happen on stage that maybe we wouldn't have seen before the pandemic.